One of my most cherished childhood memories was waking up Sunday mornings, going to church, and my dad bringing along a loaf of bread. And when I saw that, I always knew we're going to Tri-City Park right after service, and we're going to go feed the ducks. And those are like one of the most cherished memories that I have, and I still, to this day, we still do it as we're all older, my siblings and I. But one of the things that I noticed recently when I went, which I didn't notice when I was younger, I was at Tri-City Park maybe like a week ago, and I noticed there was signs that said do not feed waterfowl. And I was kind of concerned. I was like, wait, why? So it's what I kind of want to persuade you guys into thinking about today, is reading these signs that are around and why are they there? Why are they asking us not to feed the ducks? Basically, that's what waterfowl are. So today, I would like to discuss with you guys what the effects is of feeding ducks bread and other little snacks, how it affects their environment, alternatives that we can do or have instead of giving them and feeding them bread. So why shouldn't we feed the ducks bread? First of all, well, it affects their nutrition, and it's not good for them because as we know, bread is a starchy food. As for all of us, we know it gets its fat, even as humans. So it has a lot of good carbs, yes, but it's not good for them, just how it's not good for us to have too much of it. So it doesn't offer them much nutrients, so it makes them get full really easily, which then causes them not to want to go out and search for their own food, which is what gives them the actual nutrients they need. So for them, bread is kind of like junk food. We see it and it's like bread. I don't think it's junk food. It kind of gives us some nutrients, but to them it doesn't. Too much leads to excess weight, which is malnutrition for them as well, and it gets them fat, which then they can't fly away. So, that is pretty harsh when being in the Brit area, we see a lot of coyotes, and which are their predators. And if they can't fly away from them, we're going to be losing our ducks, and we're not going to have anything like to go view at our local parks, right? So we want them to be able to go and fly away from their predators, and this is stated by Melissa Maines from Birdwatchers Digest, and she's an expert on birds and ducks specifically, as well as geese. When feeding ducks, especially ducklings, they'll become malnutrition and become used to it, so they don't learn to forage for natural foods easily. So the ducklings, they don't know any better. They're just feeding off of what you give them, and they grow up that way, and now they become accustomed to that, and they won't be able to go search on for their own food as well. Another effect for their health is diseases, and one is it's a rich carb diet, so it leads for them to defecation, and ducks carry many bacteria that cause diseases. For example, bacteria Clostridium, which then causes respiratory and musculoskeletal paralysis, and as well as moldy bread. So when you throw it into the pond and it just stays there and they don't even finish it most of the time. It also causes aspergillosis, which is a fatal lung infection that can kill ducks and entire flocks as well. Another one of their effects that it can have is environmental effects. According to Carl Mathesian, wildlife journalist, too much bread offered not only will not be eating, but it will become soggy, and which then creates poisonous odor in the ponds. And that affects not only the ducks, but the fishes that are in the ponds and other small critters that are in there as well. And it also leads to algae that clog natural waterways in the pond. So there's some parts that are natural ponds, and some are actually created there. So if there's not a current that's going through, it affects the ducks as well. Also, as I had already mentioned, rotting leftover bread attracts other pests, which are rats, mice, insects, and these pests, they harbor diseases that affect us, human beings. So we know that if we were to contact between these pests, they would affect us as humans. Another is a loss of natural behaviors. Like I mentioned with ducklings, they become accustomed to feeding and lose natural fear of humans, which I think it's kind of sad because last week when I went, my smart boyfriend decided to throw a piece of cone at him, at one of the geese, or a few of them, and then they started following us, and it was kind of scary because, well, you don't want to be scared of them, and they shouldn't be scared. They should actually be scared of us because we're not naturally supposed to be like interacting with them in that way. So they lose fear of us as humans, and they become more aggressive, and they want to expect more food from you. Other dangers also is they want to cross busy roads to search for more food, like bread or crackers, whatever. And I also experienced that when I went last week. There was like a duck that wanted food that a couple was giving them some, and he started walking towards the parking lot, looking towards the trash can, and he wanted more food. So this is actually true. I experienced it firsthand. So some alternatives that we can have so that our ducks can live longer and healthier lives is providing other snacks for them. Yes, we shouldn't even be feeding them in general, but what we can do if we still want to be nice and cute with them is feed them grapes that are cut in half so it's easier for them to eat, cracked corn, barley, oats, birch seeds, frozen peas, and duck feed pellets. So those are other alternatives that we can use in order for us to feel like we're being nice to them, and it's like a cute little tradition that we do with our families. So in conclusion, I've kind of outlined for you guys, the effects that feeding bread and other snacks to our ducks in our ponds, the effects to the environment, and what we can do instead if we still kind of want to follow along with that tradition with our ducks. Thank you.
Kim is not here today. And Jimmy just left. That didn't help. Oh, sugar. Huh. Well, I'll do the best I can without trying to choke on my words. Yes. I like the visualization you have at the beginning very much. I think that pulls us in pretty effectively. It's kind of a surprising topic. It's a little bit different. Somebody asked me at the beginning of class, what are some of the things that, do you hear things that you never hear before and everything? I've never heard anybody say that we shouldn't be feeding the ducks bread. So I appreciate hearing something different, and it's interesting. I thought you developed it pretty well. You had some good information from bird experts, the nutritional stuff. There were some examples there that you cited. I thought that those were all pretty effective at putting it together. I thought you did make a couple of emotional appeals later in the speech that worked out pretty well. You've got a clear, your goal stated. I do think it needs to be phrased a little bit more sharply at the beginning of the speech, but there was an excellent layout of what the secondary points were going to be. I thought you did a very good job on that. Delivery issues, your voice is very effective when you're speaking to us, so I appreciated that. And most of the time when you look at us, you're doing a good job, but sometimes you just kind of forget and start looking at the notes. And I can see you're barely even reading the notes. You're looking down at them and you're just saying them, but you know what it is you're saying. So it just is a habit. When it's in your hand, people are going to want to look at it. It's right there. Why not look at it? And you don't need to. So if you could kind of pull back from that, I think that would help that quite a bit. And I thought it was nice that you stepped forward and you gestured very effectively. And I mean, you tried to engage us a little bit more with your body English than I've seen other people doing. And I thought that that worked out pretty well too. Thank you.